So my last match report of the weekend is Wales 20, Australia 52. So over the half century, a massive defeat in the end for Wales. But they did pull themselves back into this game, so it's all the more painful because Australia started like a train. Wales got back into it at half-time. And then after half-time, there was a red card, although a 20-minute red card, of course. And in that period, Australia stretched further ahead, so that was where it was lost, I think. They had that chance to get back into it, and they didn't. And in the end, Australia finished very strongly. And this video, again, supported by Sports News Blitz. Excellent rugby journalism. Check them out in the link below. Let's get into the game. The early exchanges showed us how Australia were going to attack. It's very Australian, it's fast, there's lots of offloads, and occasionally a big dump truck goes up the middle, generally in the shape of Will Skelton, and he was a big addition to this team, as was Karevi for most of it. That bulk, that power really helped, but they still play very, very fast. But to be fair to Wales, they tackle well and they survived the early onslaught. They had to go through a mountain of tackles in this game. Maybe that's why they ran out of steam towards the end. 3 minutes in, clinical swift passing from Anscombe frees Rogers out wide, and we do see a little bit of a weakness in the back line. They are very small, and Rogers is held up fairly easily from all turnover. So they've got good skills. Anscombe's got a nice pass. Rogers was very impressive. You saw good touches from Murray, but they are very, very small. So if you can get hold of them, you can turn them over. Anscombe these days is very much a stand and deliver fly half. I thought his skills were really nice, but he's not offering anything else. And then when Costello comes on, he's a lot quicker, but his skills are a little bit more erratic. He got intercepted, etc. So it's a tricky one where Wales go with fly half and other positions in this backline to get a little bit better of a balance. 5 minutes in, we see early signs that Karevi, Tom Wright are really dangerous, but a second knock on in a promising position is just stunting Australia a little bit to start with. But we see this side is stacked with talent for Australia, probably the most we've seen so far. And they're very much into their systems. They know what they're doing. So I think the takeaway from this game is we're going to have a really good British and Irish Lions tour to Australia. On 9 minutes, I think Will Skelton was getting a bit peckish as he eats up the Welsh maul for a strong turnover. And it's all Australia in the first 10 minutes, indeed the first 20 minutes. Pure speed of ruck ball is creating problems, and Wales cannot slow that ball down, or are not choosing to slow the ball down, which I think is a bad call because there's so much power in this Australian side. They're getting over the gain line. Karevi frees right, and then Jorgensen back to Karevi, and surely it's a worldy try, but Rogers does so well to hold up Karevi, so they should have been ahead there. And you're thinking Australia have got all the pressure. Can Wales survive? But no, they can't. At some point, all that tackling is just going to give. You can't give them so much possession. And because the ruck speed is so fast, it means that Wales have to realign really quickly, and Blair Murray over chases, and then the form man, Tom Wright, dummies and Burns clear. Wright is so dangerous. I'd written at this point he's gone from Mr. Blunder to Mr. World Class, although he does make one clanger in this game, but he is much better than he used to be. And it gets worse for Wales on 15 minutes, just as it looks like they're getting into their attacking shapes for the first time. Australia are backing off the ruck. They're not contesting either, but it pays off because they're ready to pounce when there's a loose ball. It's Botham with a bad fumble, and somehow it goes into the hands of the gangly second row Frost, who gallops clear like he's a startled wildebeest. Quite a funny try to watch, but it's 0-12 there. Australia, the fast start. They're starting to creak because that individual talent is being allowed to pour onto the ball at pace. The offloads there, it's really tricky to deal with. Karevi, that wrecking ball, punches up on 20 minutes. The smaller Welsh backs are just finding it hard to prevent the offload as well. Tom Wright gets a good offload. Then we get a 5-metre line out, and then a muscular maul from Australia demolishes Wales, flies over, and Wales needs to rally really quickly because you think at this point it's getting out of hand. That's Fezler with his first try there, but it probably helped having 20-odd stone of Will Skelton attached to you for sure. So 0-19. Can Wales rally themselves? Yes, they can, and it is that one howler from Tom Wright, that cold drop from a kickoff under no pressure, gives Wales their first opening. and then young tight head Archie Griffin gets a nudge on in the scrum, and then the whole scrum folds up Australia. That is the one big positive of this game. Archie Griffin again looking good, and the scrum as a whole really, really dangerous, and that gets a try. Good finish from Wainwright as he comes around the corner and flies under the post or into the post, but it works. 7-19. They needed that perfectly, and that Welsh scrum is dragging them back into the game, and then a no-arms tackle from Bell, and Wales have a chance to go for a 5-metre line out with momentum, or they go for the post. Tricky call. They go for the post. Not saying it's right or wrong, but it just felt like they could have really stepped on the jugular a bit there. But it is 10-19. Then another penalty, 13-19, and they've come back into the game. Tom Rogers is starting to take some really nice high crossfield kicks. Australia just about managing to clear. And yeah, just an observation about Wales. They're very much set up like an old school rugby union side with the small skillful backs out wide and all the gain line happening from the forwards. It can work when you get into phase play, but of course you can get caught out a bit as well with that lack of size. But anyway, and at half time it's 13-19. Wales have dragged themselves back into this contest. Interesting, it looks like Angus Bell was hooked at half-time. For Slipper, they're trying to sort out the scrum. It doesn't quite work. Then we get a big moment. Samu Kerevi, he's a bit shouldery, he's a bit upright in the tackle, cops a yellow. It gets upgraded to a red because there is no mitigation. And defence coaches just have to start coaching players to dip a bit lower, or a lot lower. But to be fair to Australia, they deal with this red card so well. They tighten up. And boy, it works with that muscularity just busting through Wales. It does look like Llewellyn has an outside arc though on 44 minutes, but a textbook cover tackle from Kellaway, and Wright is straight over it with a quick jackal, and off go Australia with that 40-man mauling. Good ground made, pick and go, nice and short. Ellis Bevan connects with Nick White's head. They're both low, so it's just a penalty. Could have been a yellow. Then to another 5-metre maul, and it's just unstoppable once again for a second Fezler try. And shortly after, we learn that Kerevi's yellow has indeed been upgraded, but it's that Australian maul, that slow play that is dominating, forcing their way into the 22 once again, unstoppable on the gain line. Then a brilliant kick regather from Kellaway this time, and they power forward. Australia are focusing on ball retention over ball movement, but it's working. They've got the muscle to play both ways, which is really useful for a side. Another 5-metre maul, throw it to the back this time for a bit of variation. Fezler has got more work to do as the maul is slowed up, but he bursts off and powers through Anscombe. Then Thomas, and Thomas, yeah, he's a good player, but I think he is just a bit small to defend at 12 against that sort of power. So 13-31, 2 tries in that red card period, which is really devastating for Wales. But I think on 53 minutes, Wales have one more throw at the dice to get back in this game. Jack Morgan with a vital jackal penalty, and off they go for a maul from 5 metres. There's a few changes that come on at that point. Elias is on. Seems a bit strange to change your best hooker at that time, especially when Elias is known for some poor throwing, and indeed it goes astray, and Anscombe gets bundled into touch as the attack goes backwards. So that seemed a bad call. Gatland takes off Rogers, who was doing so well in the air. Seems a bit of a strange call. Anyway, it just dent their momentum again as they had another chance to get back into it. Thomas goes on a weaving run, getting into the 22 again, so they have chances to try and exploit the extra man. They move the ball side to side, and it looks like maybe they do when Botham scoops up nicely and fends off Wright for a really good score, but the offload was indeed forward from Murray, so that's how you exploit the extra man, but they can't quite do it, and really there the chance is gone. There's over 20 minutes to play. Can Wales do something? And the scrum comes to the fore once again. It's been a great weapon in this game. They've got a big chance to score from another line out, but Salakai Lotto is on the second row sub, and he makes a fantastic steal, getting up in front of the jumper. So that's 2 5-metre line outs wasted, and then a triple blow as Sam Costello, his pass is intercepted by Tom Wright as they just force it, and he goes 70 metres with ease, just trots in. Sam Costello, it just hasn't happened for him in a Wales shirt. Gatland is ruthless. I wonder if that's going to be it for him for a while, with his Wales career maybe going on hold as he tries other fly halves, because it just doesn't work when he comes on. Things tend to get a bit worse. The talented centre Joseph Sawali is on. The Rugby League convert does show that he's going to have to be careful, as he needs to learn to wrap his arms. He throws in a big shoulder. He throws a swinging arm as well. He gets away with both of those, but you can see he could get in trouble with this new stricter yellow and red cards. On 67 minutes, finally Wales win a 5-metre line out. Then they get a tap and go penalty, and it's a really nice tip-on pass from Botham to Ben Thomas. That was a good try, actually. 20-40. But Wales, they do look a bit off their feet at this point. Australia are finishing stronger, quicker. The ruck speed again is really high, and Wales are just struggling to realign as they're getting tired. It's academic, the game is over, but definitely Australia, definitely looking sharp. Tate McDermott is on, and he is very, very quick, making a big difference for this Australia team, the difference that the Welsh subs couldn't make. They're upping the pace, the half breaks are all over the place, and then in the end, Ikitau stands up Cam Winnett and waltzes around him for a try just as they get stressed too much by the ball movement. The Welsh try and attack one final time, but they're just too tired, too slow. It's going backwards. Fans start streaming towards the exit, which is not something you want to see, especially from a dedicated Welsh fan. They know the 11th loss is coming. Wales have plenty of defenders on their feet, but the attack is just so sharp from McDermott. They're in their own 22, but McDermott dances around a couple of defenders, and Wright gets another stroll in, so a painful way to finish. The Principality looks about half full on the final whistle, 20-52. Tough one for Wales. This was a really good Australia team, a good performance, especially in that 20-minute red card period. Too much power, too much pace, too much skill. Wales, they were second best. They're going to have to come up with a win at some point, otherwise belief just starts to drain from a group. Anyway, let me know what you thought of that game. Pop those comments down below, and I'll catch you next time.